it's kind of fascinating in a way. Watching the powerful squirm is a I think about this country and who we've given unlimited power to: oil companies, governments, dictators, Enrons, cults, Wall Street. Power corrupts. And I look at the NFL and I wonder, Adam, deep down, if they were controlling now all the television networks. Is part of this just arrogance and hubris? They got too powerful and didn't connect with the average family in person. That's why they whiffed on this.
I think they were out of touch with domestic violence. I think that they were out of touch with the power of video. I think that was a huge part of this. I remember speaking to somebody in the league about this the day after the Ray Rice suspension. He said to me, why should it matter that there was video of this actual incident? And I said, it shouldn't matter, but it does. Because it's one thing to hear about domestic violence, and it's another thing to actually see it. And now that everybody has seen it, their feelings about it seem to be a lot stronger. Now, there have been some people all along who have been in that camp yelling about it, and good for them. They were ahead of the curve. It took a few other people a little bit more to catch up. And I think you'd like to think that society is caught up there now, and we see this, and it's a disgrace. It's an abomination. It's awful. And the league has had a chance to act on this and other instances of domestic violence, and it has been slow and indecisive to act. The Ray Rice case was adjudicated on May 20th. The league didn't hand down a decision till late in July, 2+ months later. What took so long? How can that be? How can it be that it took that long and the decision was what it was with the evidence that the league had, whether or not Roger Goodell or someone from the league office did or did not see the video? I had a player text me the other day. They said, we all saw, whether the league had the video or not, we all saw Ray Rice drag his then-fiancée out of the elevator like a pile of trash to the curb. What did Roger Goodell think happened in the elevator? Did he think that Ray Rice gave his fiancée a neck massage?
Who do we believe? Because as far as I can tell, the next part of this story is a woman told the Associated Press, I've got the tape, there's audio of it. Who's the woman? Is that the next person that we have, the next, natural progression in this story?
Well, certainly people will be digging to find out who it is. I think we already have an idea who it is. Obviously, whether anybody can confirm that or not, we'll see.
We do?
We do. But, is it going to be confirmed? Is somebody going to say that? We'll see.
So you know who it is?
I don't want to say I know who it is, but I think we have ideas of who it is.
Is that person the scapegoat? When will that person be uncovered? When will it be announced?
Again, you've got to prove it. Now, I'll say this also to you, Colin. I've spoken to owners who are skeptical of the AP report. They don't believe it. Okay? Now, you say, how can that be? The AP is a credible news organization. Why would they make it up? And I would agree with that. It's absurd.
It's arrogance on owners. This is the arrogance I'm talking about.
Okay, well, then that's what it is. But I'm telling you, there are at least 2 owners who I've heard that from. Okay? This is one of those double anonymous reports. This is not journalism. We've got an unidentified law enforcement agent talking about an unidentified woman. We don't know who these people are. Is this real? Those are their thoughts. Those are undeniable.
You've spoken to people who saw the transcript. This is like the second...
Well, let me say this. I spoke to people who have heard about it. I've had, since then, NFL people say there is no transcript. Okay? So, again, there are varying things you've heard, but I have had an NFL person tell me there's no transcript of Ray Rice's meeting with Roger Goodell. But I've heard people tell me about the conversation, so I'm a little bit, again, we're trying to figure this out as we go along.
Do you feel lied to by the league?
It's funny because I know that on Twitter on Monday, when initially a lot of this was exploding, some people saying, "Oh, you're angry that someone lied to you." Let me be very clear. I could care less that somebody lied. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. What bothered me, what the root of my anger, not that it matters in this particular situation, was that something like this could go on in society, and that the justice system could act the way it did, that the league could act the way it did, and that everybody seemed to just kind of brush something that we got to see on video aside. It was so powerful to watch How could anybody not be offended by that? How could anybody look at that and think that, this was somebody, a player who had this video not come out on Monday? Ray Rice would have been reinstated tomorrow morning, eligible to play for the Baltimore Ravens after they played tonight, had that video not come out on Monday.
Adam Schefter joining us. What is owner support this morning on Roger Goodell? 80-20, 90-10?
Oh, it's difficult to give you an actual percentage, but I could say this. I've spoken to owners who are definitely upset at what's gone on. I've spoken to owners who are taking a wait-and-see approach, and I've spoken to owners who I believe are squarely behind Roger Goodell. And so, to me, it's going to take the executive committee, the Rooneys and Maras and Richardsons and Krafts. They're going to want to have Roger out. I haven't got any sense that that's the case right now. Now, again, there may be evidence that comes up during the course of this investigation that implicates Roger Goodell, that says he did see the videotape, that says the videotape was in the possession of the NFL, that proves that people in the NFL office lied. And if that's the case, and of course I think the American public believes that to be the case, then it's over. I'm not convinced that that's the case yet. Like, the people who know Roger, and again, the public doesn't believe this, but that's fine. I was talking to the owners that I've spoken to, they say that Roger's been a man of integrity. He grew up a certain way. He's done things the right way. Believe it or not, that's their stance.
Sure.
And I'll say this to you, just from a common sense standpoint, as someone pointed out to me the other day. If Roger Goodell saw the video, how could anybody who saw the video want to suspend Ray Rice for only 2 games?
No question. And that's why I think the story here is overwhelmingly the woman on the tape. There's no way, if you know who she is, if you know who this woman...
No. We have ideas. I mean,
okay.
I'm sure everybody's got ideas of who it may or may not be.
But if that person there's a consensus on who it may be, then we're going to find out within the week who it is. That's just the way the media works. Well, then either she's the scapegoat or we're going to have to find out. I mean, to me, this story, Roger Goodell's still in big trouble. If there's a consensus who she is, she's going to talk at some point. She'll be forced to by the American media.
Well, maybe she just goes quietly into the night. She just goes away from it, runs away from it, right? Like, there have been instances of that where there's been somebody at the center of a controversy. Have we heard from Governor Christie's assistants yet?
I know, but this seems, yes, you're right. This seems like she would have to answer to someone.
Why?
I think when you're talking about domestic violence, it's crimes against women. We've seen a tape. Tapes changed everything. With that tape, we want answers for that tape.
Correct. The tape did change everything. I mean, it's again, because it shocked everybody. It shocked everybody. Like, this is what. This is what domestic violence looks like.
Well, but remember, with Chris Christie, it's a jurisdiction, it's a state, it's a town, it's a bridge. This affects all women. This, to me, feels like such a national outrage and a national issue that if there's consensus on this woman, she will be forced to talk. In fact,
I'm not old enough to remember. Did the people surrounding Richard Nixon come out and talk?
Well, it's a different time, though. You're talking 60s, 70s. We live in a world now where there's way more transparency, and the media is twice the size and 10 times as loud.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, too. But we're living now with an unprecedented situation. We've never seen an incident like this that has been such an embarrassment for the league office. There's never been a more embarrassing incident for the NFL, ever, for the commissioner, right? I mean, think of this. I've said this before, where Pete Rozelle talked for years afterwards how his greatest regret was playing games the Sunday after President Kennedy was assassinated. This is more embarrassing than that.
Adam Schefter, really good stuff, man. I appreciate you stopping by today.
Anytime, Colin.
The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup is upon us.
The Challenger Round.
There's a new format, 16 drivers, 3 races.
Chicago, New Hampshire, Dover.
They're going to have to find their groove on every track.
This is like no other playoff in racing.
12 will advance after this round.
4 will be eliminated. Everybody's on edge.
Oh man, this is going to get interesting.
The Challenger Round. 16 nations battle, 12 advance in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. The myafibstory.com 400 at Chicago. Sunday at 1 Eastern on ESPN.